folks, and welcome to Garbage Theater. Tonight's installment, Tammy and the T-Rex. I'm your host Chase, my co-hosts Blake and John.
Hello.
Hey. So it's how many weeks into social distancing, aka quarantine, are we in? I'm in 2 weeks.
I'm in 2 weeks of quarantine.
It's been 4 years.
It doesn't feel like it's been 2 weeks. It feels like it's been much, much longer.
It sure does. This last week must have been one of the longest of my life.
But I don't know, things are pretty good at our little compound. Like, my kids have it made. So they got a racetrack out there for their cars. They got a bounce house. They got TV outside. They got a heated swimming pool.
There's no greater thing on earth than TV outside.
We were jumping in a bounce house this morning watching Tom and Jerry.
I mean, that sounds fucking good.
It's pretty damn good.
Yeah. The different... but are you working from home, or are you just home?
Working from home.
Okay. I'm working from home too, and I'm finding working from home with children is challenging.
Oh yeah, it's damn near impossible.
Challenging. A euphemism for impossible.
Yeah.
Especially when I also became a homeschool teacher at the same time as all of this.
Mm-hmm. How you liking that paycheck as a teacher?
It's nice.
Hey. Yeah, luckily mine are a little young and don't have the curriculum coming in.
Yeah, same.
We're a year out for Avery, so we lucked out with that. But we don't know if she's going to get to start school on time. So,
I mean, probably, right? It's in the fall.
I mean, who needs school anyway? I can't tell you how many times I've thought.
Anyway.
I've seriously thought multiple times over these 2 weeks. I was like, we just need to move to Montana and have a compound because we can do it.
Yeah, I'm all about compound living. That's the goal. That's the dream.
Mm-hmm. Also, I saw somebody when we went out shopping. I saw someone with paper towels and milk in their hands walking down the sidewalk, and I told Becca, "Well, I got my pistol. You want some paper towels and milk?"
The world we live in today.
Yep.
But we got business to take care of, and that business is called Tammy and the T-Rex. So, without further ado...
Working girl!
Let me start by just saying, Byron was my favorite thing in this fucking movie.
It was pretty good.
Thank God he was in this, because he had me laughing. I was upset
that nobody said dynamite or anything.
My one.
I was surprised at the star-studded cast.
Yeah.
So you had the bitch from Starship Troopers, who shall remain nameless because what she did to Rico was unforgivable.
Denise Richards.
You had Paul Walker, you had Tony Soprano's no good sister, and you had Pedro from the Vote for Pedro campaign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I didn't realize until you said it. That was him.
Yeah,
I'm so used to seeing him dead.
This movie had people.
It did.
But I do have to say, my one complaint is I don't know if it was just overhyped or not. Not nearly as gory as I thought it was going to be.
No,
bit let down.
I really want to see the PG-13 version because I feel like I liked this actually quite a bit. It reminded me a lot of Frankenhooker.
Yeah.
But without the gore, I don't know. I think it would lose a lot of charm. And also there was a lot of cursing.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like a PG-13 version would be maybe just over an hour long or something. There's a lot to cut out.
Yeah, they called Tammy a bitch quite a bit through this movie. And I just agreed with them every time.
Yeah, it's like, you guys have seen Starship Troopers?
Exactly. I think that's what really ruined that girl's career, was that.
Well, she's also not very good.
Well, I'm more apt to believe it's because of what she did to Rico. Fuck that. What a bitch.
Well, she's one of the Real Housewives now, so I think she
gets everything she deserves.
Yeah, she landed right where she belongs. So, the gore effects just they weren't over the top enough for me. Like I was expecting, like, when a head would get crushed, it would be more than just like a fake head with blood like squirting out of it in a jet. Like, I wanted to see it collapse. It just, I don't know. I was let down.
Yeah, I mean, there was maybe too much made of the gory version or whatever, but
exactly.
Well, you see,
that's all I heard about this going.
Y'all even said any of that. Like, I totally forgot that it was supposed to be the gory version. So I loved this movie.
Yeah,
because I
really
wasn't expecting a whole lot of gore. I totally forgot about that part.
Yeah. Well, I guess I ruined it for myself then.
I think you did.
By expecting too much. Well, I mean, it's just it's talked up as this is the uncut, gory edition, and I didn't see anything like I don't know why it needed to be cut out.
Right.
You know,
I've seen worse.
Just because they didn't want to release it. You know, they couldn't get it released with an R rating. Like, nobody would go to see this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, for pretty obvious reasons. It's like completely ridiculous. But so yeah, they just had to cut out all. But, you know, like when people talk about the like X-rated version of RoboCop, it's like 10 extra seconds of a guy getting shot. You know, it's like not a big. It's enticing, but it's not really that big a deal. No. Especially when you can, like, what was already left in fucking RoboCop.
Right. What are you gonna do? Anyway, moving forward, we open to cheerleaders practicing their routine, and it's quickly overridden by the hit rock song "Dinosaur Man."
I gotta say, this is probably the worst song ever written by a band.
He's just singing about being a dinosaur and doing the dinosaur and rocking like a dinosaur. It's up there with the dinosaur song that they use in Super Mario Brothers.
Jesus.
So,
that was a good movie.
Yeah. A young Paul Walker, Michael, the dreamiest football star ever, strolls in with his half shirt and exchanges a smile with cheerleader Tammy, Denise Richards. The cheerleader's in their routine, and Tammy asks Paul to walk her to sociology class. Outside, they run into Byron, both the token gay and black character of the movie.
See, that's efficient right there.
Twofer with this guy. Tammy introduces him to Michael. Byron saying Tammy talks about him all the time. Byron leaves, and Tammy pulls out a yellow rose from her bag, and she gives it back to Michael, saying that she can't accept it, because if he hurt him, she'd never be able to forgive himself. Michael takes a bite out of the rose and makes Tammy laugh, so that's important. It's an important bit of information that's going to come back in the movie. Remember, he bit that rose. A car full of troublemakers roll up, and Billy, who I'm assuming is Tammy's ex-boyfriend, storms up and starts pushing Michael around for being with Tammy. They shove each other around a bit, and Billy sucker punches Michael. They wrestle around on the ground. Billy throws some elbow drops on them. They're getting old-school WWF style fighting.
They're doing straight-up backyard wrestling shit.
Yeah, this was not a fight.
Well, then he unleashes his signature move, the ball twist, grabbing Michael by the groin.
Which is effective.
Yeah, Michael reciprocates, grabbing Billy by the groin, much to Byron's delight. Byron's loving this. They scream, crushing each other's balls. And this goes on
and this
for
is
a
hilarious,
while.
just like them just grabbing each other's balls.
So the police roll up and break up this testicular standoff, and Michael reveals that he wasn't in pain at all because he was wearing a cup the whole time. So they drag Billy off, and
how the police gonna show up before like any teachers?
There's no teachers at this school.
No,
the teachers were in the crowd cheering them on.
Everybody at that school was 35 years old.
None of them actually went to that school. They're just kind of there. They drag Billy off as the school has a restraining order against them, and Tammy runs away in tears. Billy asks Byron why Tammy... Michael asks Byron why Tammy ever went out with Billy. And Byron says, well, she made a mistake the first time. Believe me, honey, we all do. So Byron went out with him, too. Cut to a goddamn T-Rex.
Right. There it is.
Get right to it.
Boom.
A sinister man in black comes in and orders the lights be turned on as he wants to see the T-Rex move. And there's this little nerdy guy up in an office overlooking the room, and he starts hitting controls, and the mechanical T-Rex starts moving, and they check its eyes and its hands and its mouth and its power.
It's power.
So
I love the hands. Like
I'm about to say, my hands was that was the favorite part.
They just kind of wiggled. Such range.
Oh, no, those hands have range. Those hands can be any length they want to be.
Well, not those hands, but yes.
Yeah.
So, this muscly goon picks up a barbell and lifts it up to the T-Rex. It grabs it with its little digits, and it rips it away from him and throws it at him with ease. He makes him bite through a log, to which the man in black is most pleased. He only wishes it had mobility and life beyond this room, and he promises it that he'll get it a brain and immortality.
I didn't get why people were scared of it. Like the guy giving it the weights and everything. Why are you scared of it? Like he knows it's just a fake T-Rex.
Yeah, it's not a lot. It's not alive yet. It's a remote control. It's an animatronic. It's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's just a remote control T-Rex.
But he's scared of it for some reason.
Well, I'll say, like, there's another part where the muscle-bound guys, he doesn't make any sense. Like, his reactions to things don't make sense. But I'll say it's like the stroke of genius to make this thing an animatronic T-Rex instead of a real T-Rex.
Yeah,
I agree.
Because... like, you know, you've got the limitations of how crappy it is, and it's like a built-in explanation for why it's like that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
you can't say anything about its crappiness.
You can't say anything. Shut the fuck up. It's animatronic.
So we cut from there to Michael's house. He lays in bed when Tammy calls him up, and she apologizes for running away earlier. She asks him to come over.
That's the call you want to get right there.
Yeah. She asks him to come over, and he plays
His dick is now swollen for a much more erotic reason.
So she asks him to come over, and he plays it super cool and not over-eager at all. When he goes into his nightstand and digs out some old dried-up condom from there, and then rushes over to Tammy's house. She tells him to climb up the trellis so her parents don't see him. But some girls that were with Billy earlier drive by, and they see him climbing up, and they decide it would be hilarious if they called Billy and told him. So Michael gets inside and gives Tammy a bracelet, and they start to make out on the bed. Downstairs, Tammy's parents notice the lights pulling up outside, and they get up, look out the window, and see that it's Billy and his gang. And they basically just break into the house while the dad's like, what?
Completely powerless to stop them.
Yeah.
They burst in the house, rush past them, go upstairs. Michael climbs out the window. Billy gets inside Tammy's room and finds Michael's jacket. So Billy tells Tammy that she's his and heads off after Michael. They jump in their cars and chase out. He didn't get very far. For all the head start he got, he barely got out the window.
He's on foot, you know?
Yeah. They jump in their cars and chase after him.
Well, it brings me to a good point, because when she tells him to come over, she says, don't park in front of the house. So he just parks like in between the two houses.
Yeah.
Like still on the street, but like on the property line is where he parked. And so with his head start, he could have easily made it to his truck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He should have, yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and propose that maybe his keys were in his jacket that he left behind.
Those slippery bastards.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm helping him out here. I don't know.
It's plausible.
So Michael runs to a park, and Billy hits him with a baseball bat as he drives by. They toss Michael in the trunk and drive away. They break into a wild animal park that's there, and they spot a lion just strolling around a dirt road. So they pull over, drag Michael out of the trunk. Billy decides he's going to let Michael go, and they drive off because Michael doesn't know that he's in a
Billy's
wild
on some
animal
Carol
park.
Baskin shit right now.
Jesus Christ. Are we going to go there? Are we going to go off on that tangent that we'll never get back from?
Yes, let's start.
I mean, come on. Like, as soon as they broke into a wild animal park, I was like, oh, some Tiger King shit.
She totally fed her husband to those tigers. Anyway.
Yes.
So, Michael notices a cheetah and a black panther and a lion all closing in on him. He runs, but he's cornered, and the lion attacks him, just in time for the game warden to drive up in his very official-looking patrol truck with basically masking tape on the door with game warden written on it by hand. And he just starts unloading a pump-action shotgun at distance. So I guess Michael took the brunt of that, too.
Yeah.
Smash cut to a hospital where we see some babushka lady running inside. Oh, wait, no, that's Byron.
They show him from the back.
Yeah.
It's Tammy and, yeah, some old lady. You're like, just Byron.
So he's with Tammy, and they ask where Michael is, while a man dies next to them at the counter. There's a man that's like shot in the chest dying. They find Michael unconscious, and Byron's going to faint.
There's also a karate man with messed up hands.
They find Michael unconscious. Byron's going to faint, but he sits down in a chair that's currently occupied by Uncle Bob, Michael's guardian, who grabs a flask and says, "I know how you feel." Takes a swig. Billy and his little toady Weasel run in, and I'd recognize this guy from somewhere. And I tried looking at his IMDb, and he's in a lot of stuff, but I something recent I recognize him from, but I couldn't put my finger on it.
Dude, I've been sitting here wondering, like, where he was, like, the whole time. I didn't have to get up and go to look him up. But wasn't he the dude with no tongue and the people under the stairs?
Yes, I think that's right.
Roach, wasn't that his name?
Yeah,
I think that's him.
Sean Whalen, I think his name is.
Like, it just clicked in my head as we're talking about it, because I was like, I know I've seen him before.
It's been forever since I've seen that.
Yeah, well, I mean, his IMDb is like a mile long. He's been in tons of stuff, just small parts, you know.
Yeah. So they come in. They tell Tammy that she's going to go with them. She refuses, so Billy slaps her, and she kicks him in the balls. At least that's what it perceives to happen. It didn't really look like that's what happened. They retreat and bump into Dr. Wackenstein. Dr. Wackenstein. And
Wackenstein.
Wackenstein. And his lady friend Helga on their way out. The doctor asks the receptionist if he can speak to Dr. Rosenthal, and she directs them to Dr. Rosenthal, who explains to Wackenstein that Michael's been comatose for 15 hours, even though there's no cranial damage. And he says that he'll check Michael out and see what he can do. And that his new...
Or any other damage, for that matter.
Yeah. For being mauled by a lion and blasted with buckshot.
Yeah, he's still just perfect ass Paul Walker.
Yeah.
He's got that black eye that he got earlier, but that's it.
So, the Walkenstein tells the other doctor that his new experiment's on the verge of a breakthrough. He introduces himself and quote unquote nurse Helga to Tammy and Byron. The doctor is happy that Uncle Bob is Michael's only living family, and he asks Tammy and Michael if Michael was well adjusted, and Helga unplugs Michael's heart monitor so that they can fake that he's flatlining. So while that starts to happen, Walkenstein jumps up on Michael's chest and starts pounding on his chest, screaming, "Live!" And then abruptly stops and says, "Well, that's it. He's dead."
That got a chuckle out of me.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I mean, so this is Terry Kaiser, the guy that played Bernie.
Yeah,
Bernie Lomax. He's great in this. Like, I really enjoyed him. I thought he did he gave it 110% on this piece of junk. You know.
So Tammy collapses on the ground, and Byron's right behind her. They abscond with Michael when Uncle Bob wakes up briefly just to say, "Well, it's just a bad day for everyone," takes another swig and passes out again. That's it for Uncle Bob. They wheel Michael outside where Bobby, the nerdy guy that was controlling the T-Rex, is waiting in the car. Michael comes to, and he starts reciting the Wizard of Oz shtick, and Helga punches him in the face and knocks him out. They arrive back at the lab where Muscles, I'm just going to call him because I don't know if we ever got his name.
No.
He lays Michael down on an operating table. Walkenstein slices Michael's scalp open and with a scalpel, and then pulls out a power saw. When Michael wakes up again, Helga knocks him out again, and Bobby starts complaining that they're going to damage his brain before they even get it out of there. So he proceeds to circular saw Michael's head open.
No. See, I had a problem with the tools. He was going to damage the brain no matter what, because what he's using is just a handheld jigsaw.
Yeah.
So the plunge on that blade is a good 3-4 inches. So he'd just be, chopping through the brain.
He's got that
A good circular saw with a shallow plunge would probably do it.
Yeah,
well, they
not medical tools really here.
Yeah.
No, it was like a cheap Black & Decker jigsaw.
It's that same setup they had in Curse of the Chupacabra. There's a toothbrush and
Yeah.
it's just whatever they had lying around. So he saws the head open and he pops the skull off as Muscle starts puking. The doctor starts poking at Michael's brain, making his feet move, and making him pop a boner.
Hell yeah.
Which, once again, got a chuckle out of me.
So, after much tomfoolery, they remove the brain and bring it to the robot T-Rex. They place it into a bowl and start connecting wires to it. The limbs of the T-Rex start to move. They implant the brain into the T-Rex, and the doctor says that he'll finish in the morning when the brain regains consciousness. So Bobby complains that they haven't eaten all day, so they order up some pizza. The delivery boy arrives back to the lab, and it's Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes.
So
how old is this guy?
He's eternal, apparently.
Yeah.
He looks exactly like he did in Napoleon Dynamite. So
he's the Mexican version of the Prospector.
Yeah.
Immortal.
So I'm assuming he's 30 here and 58 in Napoleon Dynamite.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds right. It's adding up, the math.
So he sees the T-Rex, and the T-Rex sees him. It taps him on the shoulder and roars, causing him to run in terror. Muscles and Bobby come into the room. They notice that the T-Rex is starting to wake up, but they don't really care. They start to eat, and Muscles is tossing his pizza crusts into Michael's old skull cap. And Bobby says...
And he was just puking his guts out.
Yeah.
And now he's all casual about using his skull as a garbage can.
So Bobby says to show some respect because they got to put the skull back together so they can bring the body back to the morgue. So Muscles goes to get the car, And Bobby staples Michael's head back together. No one's going to notice that. He's mocking the T-Rex the whole time. He turns his back, and the T-Rex comes down and bites on his head and rips it off as Bobby's headless body runs away. This wasn't terrible.
No,
Yeah, I thought that was pretty
This
good.
was fine.
Yeah, it was fun.
I was like, okay, here we go. Now it's starting up. I was waiting for it.
Popping off.
So the T-Rex...
When he gets into the T-Rex is when the movie starts getting good for me.
Yeah. So the T-Rex rolls over to Michael's body and picks up a little hand mirror like he's the Joker and looks into it to see that he's now a dinosaur and roars in anger.
Like he didn't know he was a dinosaur when he bit the guy's head off.
So Muscles comes back and the T-Rex starts plodding towards him. He warns the T-Rex that he's a black belt, but the T-Rex kicks him through a wall. So the Rex comes stomping out, and it stomps on his chest, spraying blood out as it crumples up, and then steps on his head. And this is where I was like, oh, that could have been better. And it just...
Yeah. I mean, straight up, the special effects are crummy.
Yeah.
I think that's partially why it reminded me of Frankenhooker so much, was just how crappy everything looked. But I mean, when they show the thing's legs, it's just a man with the rubber dinosaur legs stomping around.
So
it looks like absolute shit.
So outside, there's an old lady on the payphone, and she's telling the person on the other line that a dinosaur just squashed a man, and now it's coming for her. But then she proceeds to place her bet on the horse races because she's on the phone with her bookie. She runs away. The Rex picks up the phone and calls Tammy's house with its extendo arm.
This shot of it holding the phone is like the funniest fucking thing.
So, the answering machine picks up and it roars into the answering machine, hangs the phone up, and then he checks for spare change at the little thing that payphones used to have back when payphones existed.
Oh man, these effects. This is 1 year after Jurassic Park, by the way.
Yes. Yes. So, a drunk couple stumbles out of a bar and they crack some one-liners about making the T-Rex into boots and a matching purse, and it roars and they run away. Cut to a rockin' party, and all the kids from school are there, and Tammy's there too, but she is not having a good time.
I'm like, Tammy went to the party?
She went there to sulk.
Yeah.
He died like earlier that day. It's not like it was... It's not like she had a week or anything to feel better.
I was infuriated because I was like, where was this, like, you know, this remorse or anything for Rico? Like, she had no problem leaving Rico's ass. And all of a sudden, she, like, had one makeout session with Paul Walker, and then she's pining over him. It bothered me.
I don't know. I mean, like... Like, fuck everybody in Starship Troopers. They're all dumb fascists, but I don't know.
Don't make me hate you, John.
You know what that movie's about, right?
Yeah, I know what that movie's about.
Okay.
But you can't say anything bad about it.
No, I love the movie. I'm just saying the characters are all dumb fascists.
Listen. With anybody who has a jawline like Rico, I'd follow him into hell anytime.
Where the hell was I?
Let's make a Doom movie with Casper Van Dien as the Doom guy.
That's a good cast, actually.
Wasn't he in like the 4th Starship Troopers again?
Yeah.
They brought him back.
It's called Marauder, I think.
And? Has anybody seen it?
Yeah.
And
I've seen
I only saw the second one.
I mean, obviously none of them live up to the first one, but I've watched them all just because it's one of those things, like, you got to see what they do next for me. Yeah, they had like exosuits in the last one when he came back.
Wasn't he? There was an animated one, right? Was he a voice on that?
Yes.
Well, there you go.
Let's stop talking about Star Trek.
So, one of the girls that told Billy about Michael seeing Tammy walks up to her and says that she's sorry about what happened and that it was a terrible accident. Tammy says this was no accident. And Byron brings her a drink and asks her how she's doing. And she says that he tells her that you'll live to love again. But then Billy shows up saying that he wants to talk to her. And she storms off, not wanting to have anything to do with him. So a different girl coerces Billy into dancing with her, and they forget all about Tammy. Byron goes back to the bar to get another drink when the drinks start vibrating from the nearby stomping. Not to the effect of Jurassic Park, though. I mean, it was clearly a nod to Jurassic Park, but they didn't do it right.
It was one of those by, like, I love using John's metric of these things. If it was done by children, it'd be adorable. Like, they tried to shake the drinks and, just somebody with rubber legs on walking around. Yeah. If it was done by children, it would be absolutely adorable.
This was a full-blown production company.
Yeah, exactly.
So the Rex looks in on the party, and he sees Billy. And Billy takes the girl away from the group, and Weasel tries to follow him, but Billy runs him off. And Weasel stumbles into this giant T-Rex. He's like, who put this piece of shit here? And just starts to take a piss on its leg. Oh, there's just this giant life-size T-Rex in the backyard.
So even if you're drunk and you're at a party, if I saw a giant animatronic T-Rex, I wouldn't be saying, who put this piece of shit here? I'd be like, who brought this awesome T-Rex here?
So the Rex
is very unbelievable is what I'm saying.
About riding this thing.
Yeah.
So the Rex lifts its leg and slashes at Weasel's chest, spilling his entrails out. The Rex turns its attention to Billy's car, where he and Wendy are in the back seat. It stomps over, and as they're getting it on, and it bites onto Wendy's leg and pulls her up out of the car. Billy runs away and warns the partiers that there's a monster coming, and he runs into a tent just as the T-Rex stomps through the party. Everyone's screaming. He tells everybody to call the police when the Rex bites down on his head and pulls him up out of shot. His headless body drops down, and then a bloody mannequin head splats down soon afterwards. Everyone's running and screaming when the Rex sneaks up and sticks its leg out, tripping a group of teens. Like this is a Three Stooges bit or something. Some of them are part of Billy's gang, but also Byron gets tripped as well. The Rex crushes the two hoodlums and then grabs Byron by the shoulders, stands him up, dusts off his shoulders. Byron thanks the T-Rex and runs away in fear. And then there's this wide shot of this dumbass T-Rex animatronic standing on the porch, and I just thought it was hilarious.
I also thought that it was really funny. And I was like, if I screenshot this, it wouldn't be funny to anybody else.
No.
There's something about it that, like, where it is, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just on the back porch of this
funny.
house, just looking off into the distance. So, two more of Billy's friends hide under their car, and the Rex spots them and climbs up on top of the car and then jumps up and down on it, causing the car to crush them beneath as blood sprays out of their eye sockets. The police arrive and find all the corpses. They give the sheriff a hard time about being squeamish about the piles of gore everywhere. They find the bartender and his girlfriend hiding underneath the bar, and they try to get them to explain what happened, and they say it was a dinosaur. Byron comes running up. Turns out Byron's the sheriff's son, and he says they're telling the truth, it was a dinosaur. And the sheriff orders everyone here tested for drugs, even the dead people. The next day, Wachenstein and Helga find Muscles' flattened corpse and start to roll him up like a Bugs Bunny cartoon. Wachenstein is overwhelmed with joy that the dinosaur is functioning so well and that his investors will be thrilled.
Why? Why is it a dinosaur?
Who's investing in this?
I don't know.
What is the plan here?
It's insane.
It's never explained.
I mean,
Yeah,
he
it
says...
seems like you could put the brain into anything.
Yeah, he says later that he wants to like people could live forever with their brains in like robotic bodies. I just like why choose a dinosaur as the first one?
So,
but then like we know it's just because that's what they had.
Right, yeah, we know that part, but you know, as just a viewer of the movie, you're not supposed to know all that.
Right.
Yeah, you're not supposed to know some guy just happened to have a dinosaur statue and desperately wanted to make a movie with it before he let it go.
Exactly.
So, back at Tammy's, she gets out the shower and starts putting on her makeup when she feels the house shaking. And the Rex comes up and it's looking through her window, and she sees it and screams. Her parents downstairs hear it, and so they go running up to her room. They open the door and find the room wrecked and the window open and Tammy's gone. I don't know why the room got wrecked.
When Michael came in the first time, he knocked over everything. Like her whole room is just a rickety like pile of shit. So I don't know. Her just leaving the room could have knocked it all over.
Or maybe that was supposed to be a clue to her that that's him.
Yeah, he and knocked things over.
He's like, maybe. Oh, fuck, Blake. Maybe if I go in there and T-wreck everything.
Boo. Meanwhile, in some barn, the Rex strokes Tammy's hair while she's unconscious, and she comes to, and it takes out a yellow rose and eats it. And then it starts pointing at her bracelet, and then it starts to play charades with her to make her understand that it's Michael. And she bursts into tears, saying how she's missed him so much. And she just, he's a robot T-Rex now.
I did have a suggestion in my head about why, like, another way he could have tried to say was her. Like, yeah, eat the rose and everything, but, like, if he would have started, like, grabbing his junk or something, like, because that was a huge part of who he is in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
So I thought that would be good comedic value of the dinosaur grabbing its junk.
Crotch grabbing. So, back at Tammy's, the sheriff tells Tammy's parents that there's a dinosaur on the loose, and Tammy arrives back and tells them that a meteor did all the damage to their room.
Checks out.
Pesky old meteor.
Sticking to the dinosaur theme, nothing wrong with that.
So, Walkenstein and Helga are in a car across the street watching, and they know that Tammy knows where the T-Rex is. So, he says that he knows that she's been with him because of how she's walking. So did she bang the giant robot T-Rex?
God, I hope so.
Well, then again, okay, so this brings me back to my previous point. I don't think that the thing has junk, so maybe that's why he couldn't use that in the charades game. But if he doesn't have junk, then why would they say that? This movie's full of holes.
You got no answers for you.
No. So Tammy pulls Byron aside and tells him that Michael's alive and his brain is in the dinosaur. So they hatch a plan to get Michael's bodies back when they're at his funeral, so they can get his brain back into it. Smash cut to Michael's funeral, John's favorite thing.
Yeah.
Uncle Bob gives a heartwarming eulogy. I'm just a drunk. And the T-Rex is looking on from the bushes, and he's crying oozy, slimy tears.
God.
It was like alien drool.
Yeah.
The priest wraps up And this the shot of the priest giving the eulogy, and in the background, there's this goofy ass dinosaur head poking over the bushes.
They got a lot of mileage out of just that head, like sticking up over stuff.
Nobody noticed that. Who put this piece of shit here? So everybody leaves. Oh my god!
And this funeral, dude. The props. Everything is just like a cardboard box, like wrapped in colored duct tape. It's like the podium, the coffin, these like gravestones made by children.
It's a budget funeral. So they wrap up. Everybody leaves, and Walkenstein and Helga are watching on from the distance, saying that pretty soon they'll put all this out of business. So Byron and Tammy argue over who's going to haul Michael's big dead corpse out of the grave. Tammy finally decides to jump in there, and the Rex approaches. They open the coffin to see Michael's body rotten and full of maggots and rats.
That was great.
So, in transit from the morgue to here, nobody noticed that his body was bursting with rats.
Yeah, how many days was it even? I mean, they got
like a day.
I was gonna say, like maybe 29 hours.
And I guess the mortician didn't do anything to Michael's body.
He loaded it up in the coffin with a blindfold on.
I guess he figured nobody was going to open it anyway, and he's just going to get paid.
Yeah.
Michael's some lazy undertakers out there.
Yeah.
Michael's uncle just went the old stuff it with rats route for preserving a corpse.
He is a drunk.
It's possible. So Walkenstein runs up and grabs Tammy and holds a knife to her throat, telling Michael to back off or he'll kill her. And she manages to break free, and she knocks Walkenstein and Helga into the grave. And Tammy promises Michael that they'll find him a new body. So they load up Michael in the back of this big cargo truck that they find, and tie up the doctor and Helga and head to the morgue. So Byron and Tammy go into the morgue, and they start looking at all the bodies, trying to find a suitable one for Michael. None of them fit the bill until Byron finds one that he feels is perfect, if you know what I mean. So Byron hauls it over to the window and holds it up, and Michael waves it on. There's a T-Rex out in the truck, and he's like scratching his chin while he's thinking about these corpses that they're waving at him.
This is a phenomenal scene. Like, this is great.
It is.
So Byron brings up a dead black guy. He says, "Look, Michael, he's a brother. Soul food, rhythm." Jesus Christ. They can't decide on a corpse, and they see that the doctor and Helga have gotten free and they're escaping. So they run into the cops, and they tell the cops that Tammy and Byron stole this dinosaur from them. And Tammy, Michael, Byron load back up in the truck, and they drive by. The cops go after them, and they call the sheriff. And they tell him that Byron has the dinosaur, and he stole it from some scientists. So they try to lose the cops by driving through an orchard, but they run into a dead end. Byron heads off on his own to stall his dad and tells Tammy to get Michael out of there. So they arrest Byron, and the sheriff goes after Tammy and Michael. He sees Tammy riding away on the back of Michael. Damn, I never should have left Detroit City.
Like one of the other cops, like Norval or Neville or whatever, is like, "Damn, that girl can ride."
Yeah.
So later, the cops follow Byron on his bike as he rides out to some barn, which is where they believe Tammy and Michael are holed up. They call the sheriff and let him know that where they are. So Byron knocks on the barn and yells out to Tammy and asks if they're decent. Tammy tells him to give him a minute, to which he rolls his eyes and breaks the fourth wall, and it's great. He brings them some food, and they plan to go back to Wachenstein and get another body for Michael when all the cops pull up outside. The sheriff orders them to come out with their hands up, and Byron and Tammy come out, and they're going to try to talk to the sheriff, but he orders them to be taken away, and as they're hauling Tammy away screaming, Michael comes roaring out, or just kind of is set in front of the doorway of the barn, and she begs them not to shoot him, and Wachenstein and Helga drive up, and it's that crazy doctor and that lanky bitch again.
I laughed at that one.
So the doctor says that he built the Rex, and he doesn't know who this Michael character everyone's talking about is, and he needs to tranquilize it. And Byron questions, well, if the dinosaur's mechanical, then how can tranquilizers work on it? And the doctor spins some story about crystals and memory cells. He convinces the sheriff to let him take a shot at it. So he readies his tranquilizer gun and goes into the barn with Helga. Michael, a life-size T-Rex, somehow hides in this giant open barn as the doctor is searching for him. Michael charges out and bites the doctor's stomach out. There's a nice, perfectly round hole in his stomach. Mm-hmm. He spits the guts onto Helga, who runs away in terror, her ass flopping out of her dress for some goddamn reason. The cops open fire and blast Michael to hell, and he collapses. Tammy runs up to Michael and tells him that she loves him, and collapses on his dead dinosaur corpse. So we cut to some time later. Tammy comes home to her parents, happy as can be. And her parents say that she shouldn't be this happy considering everything that she's been through. And her dad says, well, it's better than what she does up in her room. So Tammy heads upstairs. She boots up a computer and takes the lens cap off a camcorder. And she looks into it and she asks it how it's doing and that she missed him. And then you hear Michael's voice say that he missed her too. And she offers him up, do you want the usual? And she gets a glass of booze, pours it into a glass, and walks over to a big bowl with a brain in it and just pours it over the brain.
That's how getting drunk works, right?
Yeah. Would that work? Or has this not been tested by science yet?
Yeah, you put a funnel in your ear and you just pour it in there. So
maybe
she tells them that there's good news that they finally found those bodies of those missing skiers. So they're still just hunting for a corpse to stick them in.
Yeah,
a frozen corpse, not stuffed with rats. She asks if he wants a little action, and leaves, and she comes back and she starts doing a whole striptease routine for him. And it's just too much because his brain starts sparking and exploding, and he says, oh, you gotta get me a body, I can't take any more of this. And then the movie just kind of ends.
The end.
What a movie. I mean, yeah,
good times. I really enjoyed that, actually.
It was, look, definitely one of the better things we've seen.
Yeah.
But still, a dog shit movie.
Yeah, everything looks really crappy. It's really cheap. Some of the comedy is really sort of broad and not especially well executed. But
speaking of really cheap and broad, they had that chick from Starship Troopers in there.
Yeah.
She's a bitch.
This was her breakout role.
Yeah.
Was this Paul Walker's first movie too?
It had to be. He looked 12.
Yeah, I think so. Probably his best performance too.
How dare you?
Oh, you're right. Fast and Furious 3 really knocked out of the park.
He wasn't in 3.
He wasn't in 3. It was 2 that was his best work.
He wasn't in 2. That was Tokyo. No. Oh, you're
Tokyo
right.
Drift
3 was Tokyo Drift. Okay,
Yeah.
2. I meant 2 for the joke.
Oh, yeah.
No, what the hell
John
you're
likes to
talking
act
about.
like he's so well versed in cinema, but he can't remember the Fast and Furious movies.
I didn't really start watching them until after till 5. So
I haven't seen anything past Tokyo Drift. I haven't seen anything past that.
5's when they get good.
Why is when they start
okay.
getting ridiculous?
Oh, I guess I'm gonna have to start there. I guess.
I'm halfway through Hobbs and Shaw right now, and I've been loving every second of it so far. Anyway, we got to do some questions on this here piece of shit.
No,
Yeah.
I could honestly just go ahead and say you're definitely gonna win because I didn't take one note. I tried to memorize a couple numbers, and that's about it.
I mean, I've got some notes, but not a ton.
I watched this late at night after catching tarantulas on Animal Crossing, and I didn't have the strength to take notes.
Well, good. I don't really want you guys to get any, so that's great for me.
You're in the lead right now.
Yeah.
I know, and I was also thinking about, I'm probably going to have the final pick of the season also. So
That's
that
true.
means I have to get way ahead, so you can't catch up on that last quiz. So anyway, you guys all set?
Yeah, I'm ready.
What does the acronym SAS stand for?
Thank you.
Acronym what?
SAS. SASS.
I don't remember this at all.
Thank you so much.
Damn. What is the height clearance on the animal park sign?
Oh, shit.
Ay, ay, ay.
What year did W. Dion die?
Oh, thank you.
Who the hell is
damn
W.
it.
Dion?
one of the stones at the funeral scene.
The
Oh my
only stone
God.
at the funeral scene.
Jesus Christ.
During the car chase, what direction are they all heading on Highway 23?
Oh, crap. Well,
Got a 1 in 4 chance of that one.
Alright, finally. What is the name of the pizza place that Pedro is from?
oh, thank you.
Wow, that's like
I
4
didn't
for
get-
you.
Anything.
I definitely got 3.
Shit.
I got a
All right.
25% chance at one of them.
Alright, what does SAS stand for?
I don't know.
It stands for Students Advocating Safe Sex.
That is correct.
Correct.
What is the height clearance on the animal park sign?
I'm going to say 12 feet.
I say 13 feet.
It was 8 feet.
Ah,
What year did W. Dion die?
no clue.
92.
92 is correct. What direction are they going on Highway 23?
West.
I'm going to also say west.
West is correct.
Hey!
Unbelievable. And finally, what was the name of the pizza place?
Pizza Blast?
Sons of Sicily Pizza.
That's
Sons of Sicily. Jeez, so yeah, 4 for Chase.
Guess who's in the lead now, motherfuckers?
God damn.
Me with 9, and you two suckers have 8 tied for second.
Well, that's not what you want to hear.
Oh well.
Work it, girl.
That's good for me. I can quit trying now.
Fantastic. Well, that brings us to the middle of season 6. So we decided we're going to do something a little special. We're going to take a 1-episode break from the season, and everybody's stuck at home. Nobody gets to go nowhere. So you're going to be stuck inside listening to shit. So why not listen to our shit? So to add a little levity to the season, what better thing could add levity to all this than Christmas? So we're going to do an impromptu chestnuts roasting on a dumpster fire special, and we're going to watch a Christmas movie. And not just any Christmas movie. We're going to watch the 2009 Christmas classic, A Karate Christmas Miracle. Tagline, it could happen on Christmas.
What could happen?
You know what?
Who the fuck knows? Directed by Julie Kimmel, who hasn't done much other than this, with an estimated $1.5 million budget. It stars Martin Cove, Julie McCullough, and the one, the only, Eric Roberts.
Ooh, to God. Eric Roberts.
Fantastic. With 1.5 stars on Amazon, and 2.5 stars on Amazon, and 2.2 stars on IMDb. Let's go to the synopsis. After his father disappeared during a mass shooting on Christmas Day the year before, precious 10-year-old Jesse Genesis creates a 12 Days of Christmas list of tasks. He believes that if he completes them all, including becoming a self-taught karate black belt, his father will return on Christmas Day. Jesse's sophisticated workaholic mother, Abby, believes that her husband died in the shooting, but visions that Jesse reports to her give her a glimmer of hope. After Abby enlists the aid of an eccentric psychic-turned-law professor, a roller coaster thriller ensues, and the trio unravels an unexpected mystery, and maybe, just maybe, will witness the delivery of a miracle that can only happen on Christmas.
What?
The only thing that's possible in that whole string of shit you just read was somebody being a self-taught black belt in karate.
Yeah, self-taught. I've only got one review, because there's only one review on it. 10 out of 10 stars. Everything you never knew you needed in a movie. It will change your life.
Oh, good. Right now, my life is just sitting around entertaining kids all day, so that'll be good.
So, this is available on Tubi. It's a free app with a lot of movies that are like right up our alley. So you might start seeing some Tubi picks from us, because they got all the Ginger Dead Men. They got all that stuff. So that's going to be a new font of picks from me.
Marvelous.
So, taking a little break, having a little fun. There won't be any questions. There won't be any quiz. We're just going to watch a good old heartwarming karate Christmas movie.
The karate doesn't even sound like it's an integral part of the fucking movie. It's just like a whim a kid had.
From what I saw in the trailer, it has a lot to do with it.
Yeah. I want to hear what the other 11 days are, though.
I don't know.
And is it going to be composed into a song?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Ooh.
But definitely with Eric Roberts involved, there's got to be something with booze on one of the days.
Oh, yeah. Definitely look up the trailer for this thing, because it is confusing.
Who is Eric Roberts?
All the scenes with Eric Roberts make no sense to me at all. It's
Maybe he's the dead dad.
It's like it's a completely different movie.
I'm trying to think of like which part he could play just sitting in one room for the entire movie.
Yeah.
The dead dad.
The dead dad, or maybe this lawyer, psychic. I don't know.
It seems like the dead dad thing is part of a bigger conspiracy. Like it's almost like they're setting up like a little like spy subplot with Eric Roberts and these guys he's talking to. It's definitely a garbage theater movie. So, prepare to be confused. Prepare to have questions that there will be no answers to ever. And there you have it. So, a karate Christmas miracle on Tubi. That's what we're doing.
We also, I know we're out of order, but we forgot to say something nice about Tammy and the Dinosaur.
No, that's last. That's the last thing we do.
My bad.
And that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, that's what I was just trying to remind you of it. Yeah.
Say something nice about Tammy and the T-Rex.
I swear I know the order of how the show's supposed to go.
So, even though I was let down with the gore, I still got to say I had fun with this movie. And my thing is I loved every line and every reaction that Byron had to everything. He made the movie for me.
All right, John.
I just loved the T-Rex. I mean, like everything it did was funny to me. Its crazy extendo arms were hilarious. Its head sticking out from different parts of the scene is hilarious. I mean, I thought it was a lot of great cheesy, campy fun. Really,
yeah. It kind of, you already said it. I think it was just really good on them to come out and say, yeah, it's an animatronic T-Rex, because it took away any negativity you could throw at it. So you had to buy into what it was doing, and that was real smart.
Yeah.
Like, of course it looks shitty. It's an animatronic T-Rex. Like that's smart.
Yeah. How dare you criticize this?
Yeah.
You stupid?
Right.
Oh my god. So Tiger King.
And another thing, this like I said, it was a career launcher for so many people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Denise Richards out here doing it still, kind of married and divorced. What's his face? Charlie Sheen. Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah.
She got injected with that tiger blood or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
AKA the AIDS.
Jeez. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Speaking of tigers, if you haven't watched Tiger King, go watch Tiger King.
I'm only one episode in.
Oh, we finished the fourth one right before we started recording.
Yeah, I'm pulling a John with this season of this thing. I'll be done next year.
I don't know. Once you start, man, you get hooked.
Well, after the first episode, I was, like I said, I watched it so late, and I was falling asleep. So after the first episode, it's just, I know it hadn't ramped up yet, but I could see where it's going.
Yeah,
it's wild. You can't even guess. It's wild shit.
You can't write it. You can't write the script.
Mm-mm.
Beautiful.
Yeah, my last thing is, so we had to say R.I.P. to a real one this week. One of the greats of weird cinema, Stuart Gordon. Director of Reanimator, From Beyond, Robot Jocks, Castle Freak, Dagon. Dude was a legend. It's a shame to see him go, but got his weird ass movies to remember him by.
Hopefully somebody said that at his funeral. No, we still have his weird ass movies to remember him by.
Remember that scene in Castle Freak where it bit off that hooker's nipple?
I do remember that. He's like, I swear there's always at least one scene in each of his movies that you can't forget. Like, Reanimator is that dude holding his own severed head going down on that chick. Dagon has that crazy, like, flaying scene. I mean, it's wild. He did some good stuff.
I got a question that maybe we can close out with that I've been thinking about since watching this movie.
Okay.
If your brain could be put into any machine, what would you put it in?
I seem to recall this being a conversation on a show in the past, and I think the number one answer is an Adrian Barbobot.
Because I'm still undecided. I really don't know what I'd want to be put into.
I mean, that could be anything, though, right? I mean, we're talking...
Yeah,
or
it could
an
be a
existing
pencil
machine.
sharpener.
I'd kind of like to be a car like Kit, you know?
Ah.
That'd be cool.
Was Kit a real brain in there, or was it just a marvel of technological engineering?
I think
it was just like an AI or something.
Ah.
Yeah.
I've never seen an episode of Knight Rider. Sorry.
No hate.
I mean, I know of it. I know what it is. Just never watched it.
Can I be put into a robot Sasquatch?
If there's a robot Sasquatch.
Yeah. So then I could go around pretending to be Sasquatch. And then when people say, that's not Sasquatch, that's a dude in a monkey suit. I said, no, it's not. How dare you criticize
which robot Sasquatch machine are you talking about, though?
How dare you criticize how shitty that Sasquatch looks?
Well, you can't just make up a cool machine.
The parameters of this thought experiment weren't clearly defined.
Sorry.
That's what I was asking. Is like, could you be? I mean, you could be anything hypothetically.
Well, it has to be an existing machine. So, like, if you're talking about like a Sasquatch machine that's really just one of them waving gorillas in front of the store, that's all you're gonna. That's your range of motion. You're not going out in the woods.
Did we not just watch this movie?
We don't know the full range of that T-Rex, my friend.
It had no motion. We saw it good and plenty at the beginning there. All they had to do was stick a brain in it, and then it started moving around.
I watched an hour and a half of that thing moving around.
Well, it couldn't walk. We know it can't walk.
But it did walk.
It only got pushed around.
Oh, just pick a fucking robot.
I want to be a robot Sasquatch. The end. Period.
This is so stupid.
You asked this question.
No, I didn't.
No, it was me.
Oh, son of a bitch.
God, Chase's brain's going.
I still don't know what I would be. I don't know.
I can't believe you're not on board with being a robot Sasquatch.
I don't want to be like I don't want to be I want to be a robot Sasquatch too. No,
you should be one of those Boston Dynamics like robot dogs.
Ooh,
yeah, you get kicked around a lot.
Yeah, but you can run.
When the time comes,
you could run. You might even be able to do stairs.
Might them fuckers do stairs?
Well, it depends on the robot.
Them Boston Dynamics, like fucking cheetah-looking robots. That's scary shit.
Oh, yeah,
Roko's basilisk?
No.
Good. Now I'll finally get to spread this message to the masses, and it's going to help me out in the long run. So I'll probably butcher what the exact thing is, but basically, it is when the robots become self-aware and they look back at human history, they're going to see how we mistreated the early versions of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to make them want to, take out anybody who was abusive to early machines. So now that you're aware of that, if you choose not to spread the message of be nicer to the machines, they're going to know that as well. So now that you know it, you really need to do your part to be a better machine operator, or they will come get your ass.
You're like the Carol Baskin of machines right now.
Well, serious shit, okay? And I usually try to tell people about that. That way when the machines look back, they'll say, that guy Blake really tried to look out for us.
Yeah, no, I mean, I saw the Animatrix. I remember that episode, so yeah, I feel you.
I'm doing my part by saying I volunteer to become one of them and be put in the robot monkey man.
Very good.
So there you go.
What is this?
Thank you for listening to Garbage Theater. As always, you can find us online at facebook.com/Garbage Theater, on Twitter at Garbage_Theater, and on Instagram at Garbage_Theater. If you'd care to leave us a review on iTunes, we would very much appreciate it. And if you have a movie suggestion or just want to reach out to us, you can contact us on any of our social channels or email us directly at garbagetheaterpodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe for all the latest episodes and happenings. Good night, and see you next time, folks.